Great afternoon and a wonderful evening. We're going to learn, we're listening to the transformation of two leaders. One has grown his own business, his own company, and successfully managing it as an entrepreneur, sold it, and then continues to work in corporates and also took to meditation quite a bit and then been promoting and practicing teaching meditation. And another leader at IBM being very successfully practicing mindfulness meditation for a long time and yet also be responsible for this practice. So we have these two leaders sharing with us today. Dear friends, talking about purpose of life, we understood various ways to tune into a purpose. Even that manifestation that we are doing, the manifestation, that visualization that we have learned is also a way to identify if something is of importance to us or not important to us. Going into the flow is physically, visualization is of doing the same emotionally. So when we take up something and we put it into a visualization and see where we end up, whether we have those feelings sustained for a few days, where the feelings that we are bringing up or the emotions we're bringing up in a visualization is sustaining or is it slowly tapering off. This is another great tool to utilize to go into meditations and then go through a visualization, put it in because you're not sure, but you know that there is some interest. There is an interest. And it's a great way to go into the visualization because you are anyway manifesting, dreaming about it. And when we dream about it, the more it is close to our heart, our consciousness, the more you're going to bring up the feelings. The more you're able to bring up the feelings and sustain them day after day after day, then you know that this is dear to you. And then it goes on into aligning to it. So having it in our visualizations and then taking a small task out of that towards going into the flow is a great combination to drive towards our purpose for the then time. It absolutely brings about a lot of clarity. And then we have meditation with it. But the bottom line absolutely is that we want to align to what we love. We want to align to that thing which gives us contentment. It has to be a question for everybody. If meditation is not leading towards truly expressing what that I want, then in the long term, any benefit that we gain cannot be sustained. If meditation does not lead towards truly expressing what you want and then truly aligning to what you want to do, that gives you true happiness and contentment, then the anything that you're doing cannot be anything that you gained as a benefit unlikely to be sustained. Ultimately, everything is psychosomatic. Whether my physical health and mental health or emotional health, they are dependent on the psyche. The psyche, then at the end of the day, our individual consciousness has to feel contented and satisfied. We as a whole have to, the part of us as a whole has to feel that it is satisfied, contented. If so, psychosomatic, a psyche is nothing but collection of our experiences, our memories, and then our state of being of our emotional body, our mind, our intellect, our individual consciousness, and the group consciousness, the universal consciousness. It's our collection of our own version of all of them together. We gained our health, we controlled our anger, but the deep inside, we're not happy with our job every day. We're going and then coming back because we're not still taking that action. We're not taking that action to fix that. Deep inside, we're not happy at home. We are doing an absolutely compromising thing, withdrawn ourselves because we concluded that this person or this thing is not going to change in my life. Then the psyche is deep inside is not satisfied. Then psychosomatic. All illness are psychosomatic. So the illness will have to show up in some form. It will show up. What meditation is doing is that moving us when we intend to transform ourselves, when we intend to change, meditation is moving us from a immediately, pretty quickly, it is moving us from a survival mode to a creative mode. It moves us from a survival mode to creative mode. That means if we are challenged with health, if we are challenged with some deep health issue, if we're challenged with a deep emotional issue, a relationship issue, or a business issue, or a cash flow issue, whatever that is, financial issue, meditation, what you seek is seeking you. So meditation is supporting us to move away from that survival. Because if you are challenged with basic food, a basic thing, then you can't even progress, right? You can't even progress, do your sadhana, do your practice, and make changes, because all of that require energy. So it moves us away from the survival mode to creative mode pretty quickly, with a solid synchronicity that is coming in a way, with the feelings coming out in a way to say that do make a change, make a change, do it differently. Don't try to do all small things, but when it comes to the big thing of whether it's job change, whether drive from a business, or whether it is a relationship issue that you want to fix, if you just don't do those things, whether you're fears about death, then you have those things that you hold on to them, then psychosomatic will have to apply. A few months later, we will start seeing, why am I not progressing? Why is this coming back? Why is this returning back? Like anything, if you have a business and as it grows with a lot of interest in initial enthusiasm, and we keep getting opportunities, and if you don't use the opportunity, then our business will not grow. It'll be at a point, it'll be sustained, it'll be just stagnant. And then over a period of time, if we don't still use the opportunities that are coming in our way, then it has to go down. It'll be the same thing. So the point I'm saying, dear friends, is that we move, we stick the support of moving from a survival to creation mode with a lots of positivity, and then start making the real change in our life. It happens. We will get that support. We will get the support. And most are changing. But some places, it doesn't matter however tall that change that you may see in front of you. Richard Bach said, you're not given a thought unless you have the capability to implement it or experience it. You're not given a thought unless you are capable to experience it. Look at that thought, that's so liberating. Even if I thought about, I want to become the Prime Minister of India, is not to be discarded. You see, that thought does not come or would not have come when you're 5-year old, when you're 10-year old, when you're 15-year old, when you're 20-year old, when you're 30-year old. It only came at a given time thinking about, hey, it'd be nice if I become that, for whatever reason, in whichever context that you thought about. A thought is not given to us unless we are ready or capable to implement. When I say the capability there is that as a consciousness, we are ready, have evolved enough that if we want to make use of it, we can actually go forward for it. So when we are meditating, of course, these original thoughts, the creative thoughts come from inside. Hey, do something about this relationship. Don't try to be this way. Work on it, change it. You got to question, you got to support, express. Because we're not given the thought unless we have the capability or ready the strength to implement it. Any thought, it doesn't matter. Because it's just the nature of reality that we are always revealed what is absolutely necessary as we are evolving, as we are psyche, as our consciousness is developing enough that we are revealed of certain things, which then of course make use of and then expand on. So there is an original thought that's coming in from this consciousness, which is exactly what we receive, and then we develop on it through our power of mind. But there is an original thought that is we receiving, which is telling you deep inside, do this, go and do that service work, go and help them. This long pending Financial mesh is there between your families, and then you also held on to your position. Just go and release it. What's the point? You got enough, just go and then settle the matter. It's easy. Sometimes, if one person lets go, things that are unnecessary, now you are working, now naturally you have the ability, you naturally you have the desire to give unconditionally. Say, okay, I'm going to relinquish my portion of it. Who cares? I've been taken care of, got enough. So in this case, okay, let me just give it away. At least that's going to resolve issues for everybody else. That thought could come, but they all will come. The original things will come, and then we apply, of course, our analytical or a power of conscious mind to refine it, make it aesthetic, go into the detail, and then implement it, dear friends. So we want to, as masters of meditation, we want to take conscious action, listening to our heart regularly. When we are going through deep meditations, if we feel really good about doing something for somebody, we got to take action. It's not good enough to say thank you and go away every day. It's not good enough. If you deeply feel inside, wow, this is good, I must take it to my grandmother, I must take it to my neighbors who are suffering here. But I know they've been very aggressive. I think I should somehow find a way to talk to them and give it to them, or to my colleague. When the moment we, as part of the feeling, we get this thing that is coming deep from deep inside, we got to hold on to it and then take an action. It's not enough to just say thank you and then go away, dear friends. It's not enough. That's why, by the way, it's going to happen. The paradox is that we have to work on one side and the other side is going to happen. Both are there. Spiritual science and meditation practice is about living with paradoxes. It's going to happen, but we have to do our best. Both are there. We cannot leave it and say, when my time comes, it's going to happen. No, sorry. When that your heart is telling you, with a feeling it's telling you is coming to you, then we need to take that action on it, because that's a signal, that's a message. It's like an opportunity. That quantum field has unlimited possibilities and opportunities. And when we are with it, we become open to the opportunities and possibilities. We receive them. And when we receive them, we've got to do something with them. So it's going to happen for meditators to naturally move towards helping others. But the dear friends, at the same time, we have we also have to work. We have to match it. The opportunities come, we have to match it. When we match it, we are progressing in an excellent pace. We are accelerating. We are contained in a sustained happiness mode continuously. So let's go into our meditation once again, dear friends. We are doing breath mindfulness meditation. Our goal is to empty the mind. When we empty our mind, when we empty those thousands of unwanted negative survival thoughts, we start gaining clarity. We start receiving original creative thoughts, original creative messages, which are going to help us move into a higher purpose, in a higher direction. So our mind has got thousands of thoughts. And when we observe our breath, our normal, natural breath, take any point in the nose, here, 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 preferably at the center of these eyebrows, and then observe a breath is going in and coming out. When we observe our breath, our mind slowly, slowly becomes empty. When we observe the breath becomes lighter, shorter, mind is also becoming empty. While you're observing, there may be distractions, and so suddenly we go off into the thought. And when you recognize that you are thinking, then gently come back to observing the breath. So during this whole process of meditation, you may be in thought. Bring your observer back into the observing the breath. You'll be in observing the breath for some time. And as you observe, as you're becoming empty, there may be a place where you've completely forgotten about observing the breath and you've gone into a totally emptiness state. Or you have gone into a thoughts to full state where your job then is to bring yourself back to the breath again. The way to do this, dear friends, is the posture is simple, just the way you're sitting in the chair. Cross your feet at ankle, fingers into fingers. Rest your hands comfortably in your lap. With your eyes closed, remove the specs. we would observe our natural breath. This is the posture. It's called Anapanasati or breath mindfulness meditation. Before going into this, there is a process called heart elevation. Just follow me actively. The idea of the process is to fill up our heart with an heightened emotions of love, gratitude, compassion, kindness, adventure, care, any of these emotions. Relive a moment from your life. So go back to an experience from your past. Or those of you doing manifestation, bring it up from your future and relive that experience of caring for a child, of being in nature, or caring for your parents, any of those, and then feel that emotion of kindness, compassion, love. So that's the crux of the emotion, that process, which slows the brain down to go into this breath mindfulness meditation easy. Relax yourself, dear friends. Sit comfortably. Wonderful, dear friends. Hope you enjoyed the meditation. We definitely are dropping and dropping and dropping more and more unwanted thoughts. So we have to become more and more clearer about how I want to navigate my life in this new after meditation. Early in the morning is a great time. At least I use the time. When I'm brushing, when I'm bathing, I'm always receiving because that's the slow down time. And then our consciousness is always giving, post your nights processing, it is always giving, downloading, always, all the time. I'm utilizing that time rather than keeping mind full at that time. I'm keeping the mind totally paying attention to it. I'm paying close attention to what is it that's coming into my mind at that time. Rather than filling it up and saying, what should I be doing today? And I'm listening actively during that whole time, from the time I wake up till the time I rest. For example, today I got some beautiful idea about this whole some of the books that we have to publish from the foundation. Just the Buddha CEO itself is a concept that needs to be published. Until this time, I was thinking of something else. It just develops, slowly it develops as it downloads and slowly develops. It's always great, dear friends. So we have our distinguished guest. As we're relaxing into these energies, it's an honor and a privilege to have Mercedes Escala from IBM. And then we have Mr. Suresh Kalburgi, who is managing director for a company called CTDI in Bangalore. So it's great to have both the guests, distinguished guests who have been very successful in their own way. And then let's listen in and request Veena to introduce Mercedes Escala, please.
Hi everyone, happy morning. I'm Veena from Bangalore. Mercedes Escala is a Peruvian and a meditator. She joined IBM in 1995 in Latin America. Most of her career has been in human resources. She has had roles as an HR leader and compensation and benefits leader. 8 years ago, she moved to the US with her family and was responsible for global recognition and compensation in North America and Latin America. As of January 2019, Meshe has embarked on a new career as VP of Corporate Citizenship Initiatives, bringing together two of her passions, making a social impact and driving employees to find purpose on what they do. Meishay is the mother of Gabriela, a teenager, and is married to Gustavo. Both of them are Chileans and enjoy Peruvian food. I welcome you, Marcela.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's really an honor to be here. And this is me. This is Meche. And as you've heard, I come from Latin America. I am Peruvian, um, but I lived in Chile many years. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of how I started in this path and journey of mindfulness and meditation. Many years ago, actually, I think close to 14 years ago, I started trying to find a way to really. I had a, I had become a mother, and for me, it was my most wonderful dream. But as I embarked in this journey of being a mother, I felt that I was not able to really enjoy all the beauty of, combining my personal life and my career and all that. So I decided to try and find a space where I could really be me and be able to really enjoy the things that I had in front of me to their max. I was very lucky because actually I decided to start like a therapy with a psychologist, and I was very lucky because that psychologist actually was a huge meditation practitioner, and she said, "You know what? Why don't we do something very different? And let me introduce you to meditation." And I started. That was the way I started my meditation, and the journey, as I always say, was in baby steps, very small steps, ridiculously small. So it really became something that I could factor in my day to day. I was not looking for this big space in time where I could sit for a long period of time. I just needed some minutes that will start to build that stamina in me. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to be in that state. I find it that it's a gift for me. I find it that it's a space where I'm able to visualize a lot of the things that I want. I'm able to manifest. Um, I remember many years ago, somebody told me that I should be meditating 1 minute according to the years that I've been in this world. And I thought that would have been like, no, it's impossible. It's so much. Actually, it's a gift to get to that point where you see that you can actually, I'm 53, so I meditate now like an hour a day, but it's been fantastic. But nothing happened from one day to the other. I feel that this is a journey that you embark and you start just like building blocks, feeling those steps that will take you to this next level. And some days are better than others, of course. You will also learn a lot from you. The beauty of meditation is that it has allowed me to really learn a lot from me, who I am, what triggers some, reactions, how I embrace my day to day. I've decided to, make some big changes. As you've heard, I'm part of IBM. I've been working for IBM 25 years in a very, challenging corporate environment. But I felt that I could do this work with a different lens. Part of my meditation journey has been focused on gratitude. I've been somebody that since very young has practiced gratitude as part of my day to day. My grandmother actually was the one that really installed in me that sense of gratitude. So building in between these two worlds, between meditating and the gratitude practice, allowed me to really embrace the role of being a leader differently. And I embarked in this journey with this objective of, I want to be a different leader, a leader that shines light, a leader that allows the space for people to grow, a leader that builds community, a leader that allows people to actually bloom wherever they are. For me, I really take time to identify those places where people can be at their best. And the way I do things is I'm also a morning person. For me, the morning is really important. I wake up very early at 5 a.m. and I have decided, I work for an IT company, and I've decided that before I start my work, I do not touch any IT thing, any electronic. So I do the between 5 and 8, sometimes 5 and 9, I dedicate to do things for myself. My meditation, I pray the rosary. I'm Catholic and I pray the rosary every day. I do my gratitude journal. I eat good food and I eat with all my senses. I just feel that this is the way to set the tone for my day. And then I open the world of the work, the world of work, the world of the frantic need of information, or, And that has been the beauty of this mindfulness meditation journey. If the weather is good, I would go out for a walk before that. In those 3-hour window, I will try and embrace nature. I embrace the stillness, the silence. I just want to soak everything that is around me. And meditation has allowed me to do that. And when people ask me, how do I start a practice? I say, use all your senses. They're with you everywhere you go. If you eat with all your senses, it's a different thing. If you listen with all your senses, it's a different thing. So I always invite people, you can start anytime. It's you with you. So it's fascinating to see how this journey just starts building up and creates, sparks the best of you. Like, I used to say that I was not a creative person because I had in my mind that being creative was being an artist. Well, now I consider myself super creative because the things that I've been able to think through in a different way, because I've quieted my mind, really has allowed me to do that. And, I am always expecting to find this new thing, this new space where I'm going to go and it's going to be even more blissful. How am I going to start feeling that lovely energy around me just when I sit down and I'm by myself, just in stillness? Definitely this year of the pandemic has improved my ability to do that. It's been a silver lining of all this difficult situation, but it's been a silver lining. I've been able to be more here. I work from home now. I do not commute. My commute was long. So it's a gift time for me. I've been able to really practice more. So I would like to invite you to do that. Just use all your senses and you will see the many things that allows you to think differently, to embrace life differently. And it doesn't mean that things are going to change, but it does mean that you are going to react differently to what's in front of you. And I've seen it firsthand in my day-to-day job, how I can be in a very difficult meeting and just take this space where I am just watching things differently, with a compassion, with a different kind of leadership. And we only need to have one that has that space, because if you have one compassionate leader in a meeting, things really change. The way you ask the questions are different. The way you embrace the challenges. We always will have challenges, but the way you embrace them is different. So the invitation is to be that one person that is different in the meeting. That will be the stepping stone for a culture change. I've been working with some women in the Latin America community here in the US as a way to help them grow, believe in themselves. Some of them have great talent, but haven't been exposed to embrace life to the fullest. And while doing that work, I found that, bringing the meditation to that space has allowed us to really connect differently and build together great things. I'm very proud of, trying to also teach and expand what this meditation and focus on mindfulness can bring to the table to many people. Any age, any walk of life, there's so much that you can find in that space. And the beauty is that we have it with us. You just need to connect with your breathing and use all your senses. That has been my experience. So this is what I wanted to share. I don't know if you want to open it for questions or...
Thank you, Marcellus. This wonderful, wonderful to know, wonderful to listen to your experience. We will take some questions a little later. We have another guest.
Sure.
Many, many thanks to Lawrence. Lawrence has been a great friend and has been an excellent proponent of meditation, mindfulness. You may not know me. I don't know if you know me, but I was in IBM, came through, and I can read.
Yes, we met once in North Castle. Laurence introduced us. Yes, I do remember you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So you were there. It's amazing to hear. I think you said it all in one sentence. If one person is in a meeting, will change the direction of the meeting. That's a very powerful statement, dear friends. We don't need everybody around us to change. That's a message from this master, a business leader who is got her own challenges. VP of HR at IBM can mean many, many things. Larger companies, larger, always have stricter policies, procedures. Nobody likes policies and procedures. You got to manure, you got to keep employees happy while you still have to get this order in place. One of the toughest things to do. But that statement that one person in a meeting can change means that we apply that everywhere in every situation. We don't need everybody around us to be meditating. But if we are that, then I think automatically we're emitting that, and then we're making this a tough meeting into a compassionate meeting. Thank you, Mercedes. It's a great learning for me a perspective to think about, a different perspective to think about. Because many a times we see that, hey, I've changed, but the other person has not changed. I think you said it. The way we talk different, the way we ask questions different. Beautiful. We'll come back. Thank you so much for your taking time. Veena, can you introduce Suresh, please?
Yes, sir.
Friends, we
Mr.
perhaps are
Sur-
running late by about 10 minutes. We're running late by 10 minutes. It's good to always listen in to these great leaders. Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Suresh KS, an electronics engineer, is currently the CEO of CTDI India, a wholly owned subsidiary of $2 billion CTDI USA. He is currently leading a large team of 1,200 people, 240 crore revenue business. Earlier, he co-founded Digicom India with four college mates and grew it to a 1,000 members strong organization supporting IT and telecom industry. Digicom was later acquired by Regenesis UK. Inquisitiveness for spiritually started quite early in 1996 with the Siddha Samadhi Yoga group for Mr. Suresh. In the initial days of his spiritual journey, Mr. Suresh explored silver mind control, quantum jumping, remote viewing, and Reiki second degree. Realizing the immense benefits, Mr. Suresh has been practicing meditation since 2009. He regularly teaches meditation and at various companies and educational institutions. He is a specialist on teaching body, mind, soul concepts with meditation. He is married to Madhu B and has a son, Neeraj, and lives with them in Bangalore. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Veena. So thank you, Chandra sir, and the whole team of Buddha CEO. And I'm really honored and privileged to be part of this group. I always enjoy the journey with the team, and it's great hearing in the morning with Mercedes Escala. So thank you, madam, for giving your guidance and inspirational words here. So I really take this learning from here. So, yeah, as we speak, right, it's been like more than 10 years that I've shifted my way of living from how it was and then coming into a spiritual domain. I'm more like, I would call it as an applied spirituality, right? So that's how I take it. And there's a whole lot of transformation. So of course the experiences are too many, right? It happens every day, every moment, and then we realize and it definitely gives us a better in terms of consciousness or empathy or the gratitude. I would say it just erupts or it spontaneously comes up within me. We start aligning to the universal laws and the law of nature, right? So the universal law is what, we live and let live, and then, have a sense of gratitude, and then the sense of contentment, sense of surrender, right? So, but I'll try to share a couple of my way of looking at things, or there, some highlights of what I have gone through, right? So, I've been you know, more like a very dominating and a very possessive sort of a character, right? So because when you lead an organization since an early stage of your life, and then I've been into my family businesses where it was into mechanical industry and electrical industry right from early childhood. So I've been more into this role of leading groups or organizations. So, but when I started this company with my friends, it was like, you had to work with five people, right? So it was five equal shareholders, equal partners, and then of course I used to be feeling more like a dominating, and that sense of domination was there as part of my. And then I would say, like, a so-called of a ego or a possessive thing. Like say, when I got into my process of meditation and self-exploration, right? So these things started dropping, automatically. The sense of ego, or pushing people to really make your point clear, and then not listening to others and things like that, right? So this started dropping automatically. So there's nothing called as an effort that I was doing, but spending more time in silence and meditation, and then of course reading a lot of books. Of course, we have our great master Patriji, who gives us all ready to eat, right? He guides us, gives us a lot of information and stuff, and the Swadhyaya books that he was talking, the principles. So just implementing and contemplating on those principles and the books that we read, right? So naturally, I could digest and assimilate those principles, and then it actually started becoming building up in my true nature, right? So now it's more about to be like, if I have to manifest something, like, I was also into chanting and religious scriptures reading, and then uh, visualizing a person, thinking about, I need this to happen, and then the typical manifestation techniques, right? You visualize the person whom you're meeting, and then meeting that person, and then sending a message in advance, and trying to say that, requesting him or her to help us to get into this meeting or get some job done. But that whole technique has changed into, something like a surrender to the situation, or just flow with the situation, and then the very sense of doubt or suspicion has dropped. Like say, if I have to get something done, or there's some intention in my mind that we have to achieve this task or this job. So the sense of suspicion, the sense of doubt, that that I will not be able to do this job, or whether this job will be done or not, or what the other person thinks, and things like that. I think that certainly creates uncertainty in the mind. These things have already dropped, and then there is a process of something called as an authenticity of whatever we think and speak. So we see the results coming up. So there is expectation. So, but there is also a sense of acceptance. Like, of course, I do see that the jobs gets done automatically, or seamlessly, or effortlessly. Whatever we're trying to achieve here, and then whatever the results we get, right? Usually we conflict. Yeah, this is not the result that I wanted. This is not the right thing that has happened. So somewhere in my nature, it has already started seeing that, that I'm able to accept the situation much more effortlessly, much more seamlessly here. So I sense that this makes a lot of difference for a leader at my position, right? I have started developing naturally the sense of empathy, right? So you don't need to listen to whatever I'm expecting to listen. So I also listen to others, and then naturally it's blended, less like what Masri's was talking, right? So you always get the sense of gratitude by nature there. So this is something that I have realized it, more on a practical approach to my business line, or my personal line, or as well as the social circles, right? So this is something which I felt is a good development within myself. And a couple of more things, right, are just related to relationship, because as a leader, right, we meet so many people, we have to guide, and we talk, and we address a lot of forums, right? What I sensed also, which I started realizing of late, is there is always two ways of looking at things, right? One is a logical way of looking at things. The one is the creative way of looking at things. I more relate it like something like a male and a female approach to things. So it's like an emotional approach or a creative approach, or there is a logical approach. If I am A today, then I can become B tomorrow. I can become C day after, right? So something like you're getting into a progression or integration of present to the future. So there is always a creative way, like you blend your emotional and your gut and your intuitional brain, or a creative unlimited thinking sort of a thing. So what we see is I can seamlessly blend these two parts of the brain in while we address and talk to the people. Intuitively, I'm sensing that when I meet a person, right, I can already very well articulate or very well comprehend what the personality is in front of me. If suppose is my subordinate, or whether it's my superior, or it's some friend, so I'm able to see what is the right language or what is the right approach to making this meeting or conversation meaningful and mutually beneficial, right? So we can seamlessly blend, like what are the expectations of the meeting, and then also we blend something like a more creative, more emotional, more intuitive sort of a talks, that where you can project the unlimited expression of interest or unlimited potential that we carry in this meeting, not just relating everything to the logical things that we get into a Excel sheet, calculations, projections, and business plans and things like that. So there is always uncertainty of things. There is always something which is mystic, which can always come to us in a way which we expect. So these are very subtle things, but I would say these are some of the things that I have actually started realizing it. So that's these are things that I wanted to share. But of course, the ego part of it, that dominating and pushing people, it is naturally converted into empathy and respect for others, and the gratitude flows. So it's not that about practicing it, I would say. Like, of course, initially we need to practice manifestation, practice gratitude, but I would say, the moment we meet person, the gratitude is flowing automatically. It's like, say, a mother gets affection without reason, right? Without judgment of any person. So I sense that, like, when I work about 1,500 people today, so every person I meet, there is no sense of I would say feeling superior about it. I have a due respect from my deepest of my heart, even be it a person who is housekeeping, who serves me tea or coffee, or a person who is working on a sales role. This feeling itself, I sense it is radiating and it is affecting them, and they feel very happy about it. It's not that I'm acting to be happy, I'm acting to be feeling gratitude, but this is, I'm sensing it's all flowing through me. So this is what I would like to express today for in the morning. I thought it may make some sense for other leaders or other masters here. So I'll open up for questions, or I will have another day to share more. This is more related to my social and business circle life that I can express.
Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. Always great to have you. You say one thing, that you align to the nature laws very naturally. Meditation is helping you to align to the nature laws. If a leader becomes from a dominating aggressive to more empathetic listening, how nice it would be for all the employees. The people in that room just feel so comfortable. Brilliant that you said you stop doubting. I think one of the most powerful messages is that we create things when we don't doubt. You said doubt and suspicion have gone naturally. So no suspicions, you're building great relationships. No doubts, so you're creating things. True things that always hold us back. Because if we are doubting, then we're not clear. We're not clear of that law, that what our thoughts and feelings create a reality. When we doubt, that means we're not clear enough about it. We're not understood it fully. That's all it means. But of course, it is coming from years and years of personality. So we got to change. So wonderful, Suresh, listening to you on that. And your daily, and the way you said it, it just became slowly weaved into your daily life. Meditation practice is a lifetime process. Mercedes said that I started with small. I didn't want to conquer the world. Started with small, but then today I am able to meditate an hour a day very nicely. Of course, we all must congratulate ourselves, dear friends, that we've been meditating for 45 minutes to an hour already within the last 6 weeks. Because time acceleration. So wonderful that we are able to meditate long enough and then reap the benefits. So this is great. Thank you, Suresh, and thank you much. Yes, I will open up for some questions, and I also request Balsandramji to provide his comments.
Good morning, friends. Today we had an excellent sharing from both the great leaders, great messages. I think such messages from experienced leaders with long term of meditation is inspiring a lot to us. Whatever said by, especially by Suresh, I have experienced by myself. I'm experiencing already, and I keep experiencing more and more. Especially, I have a very small group of staff employees, and they also started meditating, and we had a excellent rapport build up in the last 2 3 months. And as rightly said, no doubting, and understand their point of view very clearly, listening to them very open minded, without have a preconceived opinion about them. It transformed a lot in business wise. This helped me encourage them to more and more towards belongingness to the company, and I can definitely say that uh, last 2 months the turnover has gone up like anything, because they normally we don't allow them to do finalize everything by themselves. We used to have control on them, and then we give less freedom to them, doubting that they might give a something, give up everything or something like that. And after giving the freedom and not doubting about them, listening to them carefully, they were able to come back with excellent results. I can say at least about 25 to 30% jump in business only because of that. I could recollect and understand the situation and analyze why this is happening. It's very clearly happened because of the deep understanding about them, and not doubting about them, giving a lot of freedom. So every person has got their own life. Every person has got their own individual thinking. We have to understand as a leaders, and we have to give them freedom and respect their, you know, whatever they think and whatever they feel. That is a wonderful learning I had from meditation. And I forgot the name of the
Matsui,
business leader. Mercy.
Matsui Keller.
So this is a wonderful sharing. What a openness, what a, frank sharing. Very nice. Both of them are excellent and very nice. And I'm looking forward for every Saturdays for listening to business leaders, because this is a real example and transformation to everybody. Thank you very much for today. Thank you, Chandra sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Balsandramji. So Mercedes, when I have a question for you, okay.
Uh, my sincere gratitude to you, Chandra sir, for this wonderful session, and thanks for giving an opportunity to ask question with such a wider audience. And my question is to Suresh sir, especially sir. For example, some days you might end up in multiple meetings, multiple discussions with several customers, several clients, and how meditation is helping you during those days where you might you might have back-to-back calls, back-to-back pressure in delivering several things. How meditation helping you, so that you can give some tips on those lines, please. That's what my question is, sir.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Raj, for the question. And definitely it's much relevant to the current situation in the world, right? So when we have this COVID things going on all around the world, and then everyone is really forced to focus on whatever is vital and important to each organization. And then I heard even a lot many people working from home, right? So you are stretched and loaded with more meetings and more calls and more discussions, and also, of course, what I sense, I'm more packed with calls. I've never had such an overwhelming situation in my life in the whole of my career, right? Path, I would say it's almost like 27, 30 years of working in this IT line and telecom line right now. And I have not been packed with so much of my calendar is full, actually, I would say that, so, but, the practice of this spiritual applied spirituality or the consciousness or meditation, right? What happens here is I don't really sense that I'm stressed out, or I don't feel that, at the end of the day I'm just, I have to drop off, or I just have so much of noise in my mind and things like that, because it's all about being in the present moment, not really getting worried about the next call, or being carried over by the past call, what has happened, right or wrong. It's just like being in the moment. The presence of mind is what I get it naturally now. So being in the present moment, and then not really think about the moment ago, what happened and what's going to happen the moment later, right? So that, and also, what I think is another way I can comprehend is, like as a mobile, right? When we get out of home, we charge our mobile, and then the mobile is energized and charged the whole day. So that's what happens when we meditate, right? So you are charged for the whole day, and then the energy doesn't drain because you are also connected to the solar, because you are living in the moment, and then you are already on the present tense, or the sthita pragnata, what we call. So we are already seeing the sthita pragnata. That means the mind is always blank, and like what Mercedes also, or the Bala also was saying, that that you listen to others also, you have an openness, so we don't have a preconceived mind. So this is all something that I'm sensing it. And then there's nothing called as a stressful situation. You just participate in every meeting 100% with consciousness. And yeah, that's how I work practically. I don't know how else I can express it. I'm falling short of words, but I packed a lot more than this, right? As I told, from morning till even till late night in the night, like 8:30 or 8 o'clock in the night, I have calls with the US, with the Indian team and everyone. And apart from that, also I do a lot of other activities packed. Like morning, I get out of cycling. I cycle about 14, 15 kilometers. Then I meditate for at least 2 hours in a day, and then I will read books, participate some small little cooking here and there, participate in the kitchen. So it's 24 hours, right? Everyone uses it, but I use it more consciously. Everyone has to use it, spend every second of the 24 hours. So that's how I'm able to pack varieties in my life. I get and give time for everything that I want to achieve. Like I get into farming, or get into selling on the streets, meeting new people, exploring new things, get into adventures. So I don't know what else I can say, but yes, I'm really enjoying the journey.
Wonderful, Suresh. I was going to ask you, but then I think you answered it that you are spending time in the kitchen, right? If you got so many calls and are just going and doing the calls, and what happens to the rest of them? Don't you get pressure from home? And you answered, you're already participating.
Yeah, yeah, I love it because I'm a creative cook, and I'm a hobby. I love doing something new.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's great. We have Mr. Escala back. So that's great to have you back. We didn't know what's happened there.
Apologies, my connection just, I think my computer restarted on its own. So
Okay, no problem. Okay, Mr. Mileswamy, you said you have a question. Veena, can you unmute Mileswamiji?
Yes, sir. Done. Sir, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. uh, I want a question to Mr. Suresh. Am I right? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Um, what he said is that ego and one more thing is domination. I don't have ego, but I am a dominating person. I listen to even 10-year-old boy. If he tell good thing, I will accept. but the domination is still I'm having. I'm 67 years old. Wherever I go, the domination is still with me. And how to control this, and let me know from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's I would say it's more in to do with the experience. It drops off, Anything that's done with effort can actually you may get the result or you may not get the result. But with this applied spirituality or getting into meditation and being in the circle of spiritual science, it should automatically drop. It may be just a matter of time. That's all I can say. I have not done any efforts in getting these characters like what I said, and even Chandra repeated that, aligning to the way nature is. So that's the natural benefits that I have reaped, is what I can say.
Okay, thank you.
I cannot give you one technique, but techniques may fall short, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Miles Swamiji, that's the thing, right? We can take any amount of things to practice for getting compassionate, for losing our anger, for losing our domination. There are all various techniques are there, but they all are stem with mindfulness, and mindfulness is a derivative of meditation. I want to put a practice and say every day I want to do 10 things. But then where is the awareness and where is the willpower? Both are required, right? To be able to do a practice religiously, and there is always something. And so this is where it is. And we conquer meditation, we conquered everything because automatically mindfulness sets in. So then everything happens like what Suresh is saying. Masiras, do you want to take the crack at that question? How do you overcome the domination? Is there any things that you do?
Well, I think just because of the focus on gratitude, I think the minute you are grateful, domination just goes to the back burner. Because it's just that sense of being grateful of what you are, where you are, the people that you're surrounded, that really the domination just is not part of your day. I would, as you start thinking of how you want to embrace your day, think of all the things. Not only, for example, if I'm eating a fruit, it's not only about being grateful because I have a fruit in front of me, but it's the people that were behind that fruit to really harvest it for me, bring it to me. Like there's so much. The minute your focus goes into gratitude, the dominant and the ego just disappear. Or if they are there, they're sitting down, not bothering you.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, this is a wonderful way to look at this. And so gratitude, friends. I love this answer. Minus family. So there is some practice that we can still do and overcome it. And she's absolutely right. I mean, it's a great way of looking at things. Thank you, Masiras, on that. Meena Joyshul.
Hi, this is Meena Joisha from New Jersey. Sureshji and Mercedes, it was so wonderful and so inspiring to listen to both of you. And I'm kind of working on the same aspect. I kind of do my way or highway and trying to be kind than right. And it's easy to do with others than my immediate family, especially like my husband and my kids. And I liked, Mercedes, your message of using all the senses. I just wanted to ask you about to elaborate a little bit on that, because I would really like to practice that.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to elaborate. One important thing is, first of all, as you embark in your day, use the intention as part of the way you're going to address things. For example, sometimes it happens, you're in the middle of, you have a small time to eat and you would like to just grab something and go on. Instead of that, just put that intention. I really want to eat. That means I'm going to sit down. That means I'm going to, find the right posture, and then use the senses. Like, what am I, when the food goes into my mouth, is it crunchy? Does it sound some way? Does it smell differently? If you're eating something that is like silky because it was like creamy in your mouth, enjoy that, that creaminess. And the same, this is with food, but you can do the same using all your senses. when you pay attention to somebody, you know, and always with the family is the toughest. It's very easy to be a giver outside, but we have to start with the inside. So sometimes it's just some props. For example, when my daughter wants to share something, I make this intention to stop anything that I'm doing. So if I was cooking, I will just put things to the side. If I have my phone on my table, I will turn it to the other side. And then see, because for example, when you listen with intention and use all the senses, you're not only sitting there, you're actually actively watching, actively following her thought. It's a different way of listening because you're really putting that intention there. I want to be here. I want to be here. I really want to be here. And sometimes, you know, what I found in the office is that sometimes meetings that could have been longer, because we are paying that intention and that attention, the meeting ends up being shorter.
Wow.
Because, you know, there's no distractions. It's just the willingness to be there allows you to connect with that other person differently.
They feel heard, right? Because now you're
Heard,
giving them your
heard.
100%. Got it.
Yes, and
Got
you
it.
can see other things. Sometimes you go out, you've been 30 minutes with a person, and then you go out, people ask you what was that person wearing, and maybe you didn't even remember.
True.
But
True.
if you
So
were
true.
there, you will, because you were watching, you were there. So that's a big difference. And it's a, you know, it takes practice, but it's, you know, again, do it small. And if it doesn't work, don't blame it. No judgment. It's just another day in the training. It's like a muscle. When you go to the gym, you have to, you know, get better at it. But it's
Use
that.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sure.
It's a great message, man. Thank you. I learned something new today. And yes, of course, the food description on the food and the way you are eating and the presence, that makes a whole lot of difference. And recently I've started exploring this side of the story also, you know, enjoying. No, something like I just like say I'm like a spontaneous explorer. So I recently you know, explored some concept called you know, drink your food and chew your liquid. You know, so like when Mercedes said, right, so when we chew food, right, the entire 50% of the food should get digested within the mouth, you know. So that can only happen when you are conscious about what you're eating in the mouth and then chewing it and exploring every single bit of the food that we're eating, and then till it becomes completely mixed with the saliva and becomes liquefied. And then you just chew, suck the liquid out of it. And then if some more solid food is still there in the mouth, you chew some more and then make it liquid and drink it. And when we drink some water or coffee, just chew it multiple times and then sip it up. This is really a very profound practice, but it needs a presence of mind and a conscious practice of this. You know. And I'm finding very good fun and then good. You know, it's interesting to practice this. And you know, instead of consuming or gulping the food, I'm able to restrict or you know, it's more like, you know, satisfying your emotional hunger. Eat it slow and steadily rather than gulping and you know, swallowing it. So you eat a big quantity, now reduce it to this much, right? Because the emotional hunger dies down after some time, and then the enzymes starts working, and then you naturally feel a high or a stomach full. So the quantity reduces greatly and rapidly.
Wonderful. Okay, drink food and chew water. Great. There you go. Right, let's take our last question and then I request Dr. Jagdish to give his comments. Yes, Badri Prasad.
Yeah, very good morning, Chandra sir, and thank you. I have no words how to thank you. Such an inspiration in the morning. What a way to start the day. And thank you very much, Suresh sir and Eskala. Very, very helpful inputs. And I just wanted to share, like whenever I put a new product on my list, whenever I introduce a new product, I install a very small prayer where I say, rather than hoping all the products to get sold, I would just put my hand and just imagine, pray like, I hope the buyer gets the best of it. and it is providing the results. It is giving the results. And I have so many plans. I wish I would be able to get in touch with Suresh sir whenever time permits, so that I can get some very guidance and inputs from him. And yeah, and thousands of people you are helping helping thousands of people making their living. That's wonderful way to live, sir, and hats off to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Prasad, you write to Koti, and then he will get you the number of Suresh to then take it forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
And last thing, I request Professor Jagadish sir, who has created many, many leaders in his life. Actually, prior to that, let me also listen to take our Justice Rajendra sir to provide as a leader
Yes.
of an organization. You have been as a judge, you lead an organization of many of a different diversity. So your views are your observation from today.
Can you unmute me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Really, today's start is very good, excellent, and the way both the speakers have brought in the input is too good. First of all, let me say one thing. These leaders inculcate good habits to all others, and they will create a mindful feeling that everybody can do well. This is the first thing which I can understand from these two leaders. And of course, as rightly pointed out, meditation really will change. As an organization, of course, such a big organization, what I felt was if people start meditation, the whole concept will change. Slowly, their ideas will inculcate to a betterment to the life. I really think what we have missed for many years, we should at least start propagating in a very big way so that everybody could understand this and do very well in their life. Hats off to all your team for bringing a wonderful opportunity to everyone to understand the inner meaning by meditation. These two leaders have given thought to everyone how things could change, how their perception changes, how their even one person, if he changes in the meeting, what a wonderful idea which Madam has given. Even though we work with hundreds of people, if one person could change in a meeting, that meeting, the ultimate result will change. This is a wonderful concept today, everybody could understand. Hats off to all of you. And really, I pray that everyone hereafterwards should take this meditation as an organization also. As I rightly pointed out in my earlier course, I'm trying to bring in all my staff into this slowly. Maybe in the next section, more number of people will join from our organization. Thank you for everyone.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff for that excellent summation of observations. And we are encouraged as if you introduce meditation into the legal system, there's nothing like it. It's great. I think we increase our understanding so much more. Many, many benefits. We all know there are the challenges that are there, and everywhere there are also actually how to get solved. Yes, I request Jagdish sir for his closing comments on this. Somebody who has created many leaders by himself. I think we have some echo from behind. I don't know where it's coming from. Right.
Am I
So,
audible?
as a successful professor from one of the premier institutes of India, Indian Institute of Management, I don't know if you know him, sir, as some of people, students have become great, great leaders, and then they are deans and Harvard and here and there, some universities. So, sir, your observation as a management guru, perhaps, right, from this institute. So, business leadership and my mindfulness meditation.
Yeah. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you very much. Incidentally, let me correct yourself. Guru is a very profound word. I wouldn't like to anywhere to use it, at least to me. Thank you lots, man Mercedes and Mr. Suresh. I think your sharing experiences have been wonderful. I'm sure most of us can relate to it. My takeaway from Mercer is incremental growth, incremental development of the meditation, and it's basically incremental development of the self, right? And the second thing is gratitude. I'm sure we all agree whatever we may be today would not be possible but for the contribution of several people we would have in touch with, either directly or indirectly. And these two takeaways, of course, are your concept of being one presence in a group is also extremely important. These are my takeaways. My takeaways from Mr. Suresh. One is empathy with the people, and of course, the other thing is creative thinking. I'll talk about it a little later. When you talk about empathy, Suresh, uh, I'm reminded of an incident. See, instead, my relationship with the corporate body has been more as a management consultant. This was one incident I remember. I talk about empathy is actually when I was consulting on behalf of Gallup, where I was the vice president for some time. This was with a large textile mill in the North India, which I don't like to name now. They have a very hostile situation. There was a productivity issue that they were complaining about, and the union was about to be very hostile union was going on strike. So even at my level, I would have sent somebody else. I haven't decided to go there and talk to them. I had done enough statistical analysis to show what the productivity was before, what productivity was low, and there are some serious issues. So these statistics things, I of course talked to the management, but subsequently the management threw me right in front of the union leaders, a large group of unions, very hostile, and uh, I see in English it's okay. Hindi is a language where you can speak very beautifully like a Lucknowi, or you can be very abusive when you want to. So that kind of a language. And it came in kind of language they were started talking to me because they thought I was planted by the management to talk on their behalf. So fortunately, I've been a meditator already, and I could think slowly before talking to them, and so I didn't try to be defensive. I knew productivity had gone down, but this man, particularly the leader, was almost prepared to hang me. And I just was calm and said, first thing I told him, please remember, loss of productivity need not necessarily be due to human beings. That when you talk ahead. Then, of course, there are other issues I talked about. How there are people, create mistakes on the management side. There could be machines that are old and we have forgot to replace them. Then without going to the depth of statistics, I gave a little bit of analysis how productivity indeed has gone down, and how their own interest depends on their own cooperation, so on and so forth. And that was where they calmed down very much, and they started talking with me in a more friendly manner. Okay, the strike did go on subsequently, but that was a short time. But this is where the empathy comes in a lot. And like you said, I wish more leaders learn this kind of a thing. This is one incident that I spoke of, very sharp, where I was really scared. They were so hostile. And that Hindi, the abusive Hindi they were started using against me because they thought I was a management man. That's one thing. The second thing I want to talk to you, I differ a little with you on that. You said you are think both logically and creatively, right? In fact, I've been teaching a lot of logic because also creativity. I don't think they're two separate. I don't think there's something a logical thinking and creative thinking. My belief, you're a semiconductor person, you have the substrate, right? The semiconductor substrate. And on that you embed the other side. And I believe the substrate is creativity. Substrate is creativity. And accordingly, you see, logic depends on the premises you use, right? And so this creativity, we can identify the premise you use. And that's how it works. That's where I differ with you. Otherwise, thank you very much. And thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about. This is a wonderful experience. And there were two wonderful takeaways, even for me personally. Thank you very much. All the best. Wish you all the best.
Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you. Thank you, Jagadish sir. That's great. Great submission. Some real world example of empathy. Thank you so much. Meditation is integrating, the whole brain thinking, right? Meditation is integrating the whole brain, but clear observations. And dear friends, It's been beautiful to listening to these two great leaders. And always good, always we took so many points. I mean, I personally, there's always learning, right? And that's the beauty. Whenever we're listening to somebody's experience, we're always learning. Ordinary wisdom from ordinary people, extraordinary wisdom from extraordinary successful people. But wisdom is there. Wisdom is there from everybody. But I think one clue of a single person in a group can change the dynamics of the group, I think is great. So that itself should give us so much feeling of empowerment. We as a lone meditator in a large group can give us so much empowerment. I mean, I really take that. And then from Suresh perspective of many things that Sar summed up, the meditation is naturally giving us all the qualities into us over a period. It becomes your second nature. So dear friends, so thank you. We thank our leaders for taking their valuable time and then getting us and spending. We spend more than what we asked for in this session, and I think we got to make these leader sessions fully 2 hours instead 1.5 hour. Maybe next session, next program, we're going to make the change. And thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Suresh, once again from the bottom of our hearts, from all of us in this forum, and from Buddha Seva Foundation. Thank you, Alan. Have a great.
Thank you, all the masters who participated. Thank you for giving me the
Thank you
opportunity.
so much. Thank you. Learned a lot.